You are watching by far the very most important video I have ever made. Is fiber essential? You see, we've always heard from a very little age, eat your vegetables. But my question is, why aren't we doing so instinctively? You see, herbivores instinctively eat greens and raw, for that matters. They go up to a tree and they start munching. Koalas munch on specific trees. Cows and horses typically go for grass. Goats for some other type of herbs. But they instinctively do so. They just go up to there and they start. Have you ever seen a human do that? Because I never. Fiber is indeed essential for herbivores. Why? Because they internally ferment it and convert it into short-chain fatty acids, which are essential in any diet for any animal. Fat, for them, is in this form. For us, it's in the form of ketone bodies. What about carnivores? They instinctively eat raw meat. I've seen plenty of humans do that. I'm talking about cold meats, I'm talking about sushi, steak tartare, plenty others. And for carnivores, the answer is no, fiber is not essential. Why? Because internally they cannot ferment it for the most part. Fermentation occurs in a place, an actual organ called cecum. And for example, humans don't even have a fully developed organ such as that. We only have what we call the appendix, which, as the name suggests, is barely vestigial and only allows us to consume fruits. While herbivores, most of their eating, their nutrition, comes actually not from the fruits, but the actual plants themselves, and sometimes even seeds. And so, now you know why humans always use to ferment plants and seeds. Because since we cannot do this internally, we don't have the organs internally to do this fermentation, we do it outside. Sourdough bread, for example. And thus, this means, because carnivores cannot ferment, the majority of the fiber ends up in the stools. This happens for humans. What bulks up our stools for the most part is fiber. So I guess our doctors have a great sense of humor. They have been telling us all of our lives to eat vegetables, which we don't even have the internal organ to ferment. They fail to tell us to actually, like the ancient did, ferment them in the kitchen. And they tell us how important fiber is when they already know it's gonna end up the vast majority of it in our stools. So as the medical community failed to see this for all of these years, how can they now be promoting a plant-based diet, which is already the mainstream? Everybody eats more rice or bread or pasta or whatever form of carbohydrate more than meat. Everybody has a plate full of vegetables, rice, and a little bit of meat. It accounts for about a third of most people's diet, actual animal products. And so most people are not vegan or vegetarian, but indeed, for sure, plant-based. And we are seeing the results of that. Everybody has way more probability nowadays of ending up with diabetes, ending up with some autoimmune disease, obesity, many others, than people 100 years ago were doing an animal-based diet. Why? Because we don't have the mechanisms to do so. People used to consume plants and seeds because they didn't have abundance of animal products, and they for sure fermented them to make sure there were no problems that were gonna disrupt their gut and etc. People did not spray their vegetables and fruits with glyphosate, with Roundup spray, like we are doing now. People did not consume all of these seed oils. So, if you go to a tribe, you will see the vast majority of them in the world are animal-based. They instinctively, just like carnivores, go for meat. They hunt and they eat the meat. And for pleasure, not for nutrition, they search and hunt for honey. And when available, they'll eat some fruit. So we are very close to what bears do. Bears bulk up their bellies, their fat reserves before hibernating. We do so before the winter comes. We, as facultative carnivores, have mechanisms that allow us to consume fruit and honey, but for sure not plants and seeds, as that requires a cecum and ideally a rumen, just like cows, sheep and goat. If you learned something from this video, please leave a like. If you know somebody who can benefit from this, share the video with them. If you want to check more videos like this, check out my channel. There are also many videos there, and hit that subscribe button to get always the newer ones. I now also do consultation. I just released yesterday a new short-form consultation, as in 16 minutes you can get the vast majority of your question answered. You take up very little of my time, I take very little of yours, and by doing that I was able to vastly reduce the price of my consultation, which you can book anytime it's comfortable and practical for you in consultation.joelclemente.com. Thanks.